Hey everybody, this is Kenny Cummins here of Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Very excited to be joined with my guest at this time. He is definitely a name to keep an eye on the tri-state area. He's wrestled in 7 states, and people gonna recognize who he is and what he's all about. And he's having a busy weekend, so I'm glad to have Mr. Mason Alexander joining me at this time. What's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for taking the time and doing this interview. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I'll answer any questions that you want to bring out to me, and we'll go ahead and start right now.
Will do. So, and you had a show a little bit earlier today, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But first things first, what got you into being a wrestler?
Well, it's a long story. I was waiting for that answer to come my way. Well, I started when I was 13 years old. I started pretty late. Usually, a lot of kids usually start when they're like before they were 10 years old, but I started pretty late. My dad actually, he got me introduced to wrestling, and before I even started liking wrestling at the time, I actually was like into dinosaurs at the time. And while my dad was recording on pay-per-view, he was like, "Hey, son, how about you check this out?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." He showed me a pay-per-view, WrestleMania 19, when they had like Brock Lesnar face Kurt Angle, and they had Matt Hardy, Mysterio. That was my first ever match I actually watched. And from there, I started watching more, going to live events, and got myself into wrestling. Like, just, I think for one split second, I think it'd be a pretty cool thing to do and be part of wrestling. So,
That that is indeed one of the most memorable WrestleManias that stands out to me, especially Brock and Kurt. Of course, the scary part is when Brock went for that shooting star press. That could have ended his career right there. But
oh yeah,
luckily, he was able to finish the match, and it turned out pretty good. Um, and for you, I've seen your work. I've heard of you through other people. Very talented in-ring competitor. So much potential, and you're just getting started and everything. And I mean, as I look at what you have done up to this point, I've already mentioned this on the intro. You've wrestled in 7 states and 26 different companies: Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, Indiana, North Carolina. I mean, man, you definitely.
you can add Texas and Georgia to that too, because we just got done with Georgia last month, and in May we got done with Texas,
So,
and that was a fun time.
so for a guy that's just been around for a couple of years now, what's it like to get this to travel this much, this young into your wrestling career? Seeing that promoters definitely like what they see in you and willing to book you into these shows. What's it like to get to get these opportunities in these variety of states this early in your career?
I think it's a true honor. I've always loved about traveling. I've always traveled with my family all the time. And for the fact that the promoters always asked if they want me to come and wrestle for them, and I was like, absolutely, give them 100% and want to do it all the time. I usually do it for the fans most of the time because they always ask me when I'll be around that area, and I usually try my best to squeeze some time in and actually be there. And I've always think it's a true honor to be a part of that, to do that. But yeah, I still travel nowadays. Like, I'm still trying, like next year I'm going to try to do Florida, try and do Delaware, New York, everywhere. Like, I'm trying everywhere. But a lot of people usually gets like trying to find different ways to make themselves big, but like, I'm not trying to like go around the world and win every single belt or anything like that. Like, I want to be the guy that I can say, hey, I've been in like all kinds of places, different states, and trying to make a name for myself in that type of way.
I totally understand where you're coming from. Nowadays, a lot of wrestlers on the indie scene settle just for their home companies and not willing to get themselves out there outside of their comfort zone. You, on the other hand, you're willing to go far and beyond to get yourself out there. Especially these in these day and age, a lot. You don't know what reaction you're gonna get or how the promoter or booker is gonna feel unless you are willing to take that chance. And to go out there and get yourself heard. We're not just talking wrestlers here. We're talking yourself as a brand. Like you definitely want to let people know who Mason Alexander is all about, and you've done so over the course of your career so far, and that's a testament of your hard work, your dedication, and people and the crowd loves you, man. They love you, and they keep wanting you back. So that's definitely a good feeling to have.
No, yeah, absolutely, man. Like I do it for the kids, do it everywhere, go everywhere around the world, and put a smile on their faces. And hopefully someday down the line, they want to be just like me, and that's my goal.
So earlier today, or in this case this morning, you was part of a show in Ashland, Kentucky. Talk about that show and the cause behind it.
Like it's for the Ashland Animal Shelter. Like they're having a fundraiser to raise money, but it wasn't actually in Ashland. It was in Ironton, just basically like 30 minutes apart. But they had it for a fundraiser. They started raising money to build up, just to keep the fundraiser going and keep the animal shelter and stuff. And so we had a wrestling event early in the morning, and all kinds of guys came around and wanted to be part of that and actually wrestled in front of the crowd and started raising money. And yeah, it was a good time. Like, you should have been there.
So, it's always good just to get a chance to perform in front of an audience, but more importantly so, for a cause like that. What's it like getting a chance to perform at a show when it's for a cause like you just mentioned? Like it's not just about you trying to be the best. It's just it's something bigger than that.
Yeah, like I like doing things like that. Like if you for like cancer or basically for like helping the poor or anything like that. Like anything that can help the world out, I would love to be part of, because a lot of people's having hard times, or even though about animals like this and that, they put them down because they don't want to take care of them anymore. But when they raise money and all that, they find ways of keeping them alive and keeping them around more often. But just doing stuff like that, it's just, I think it's a good time, and everyone has a good time, and just for the fact that everyone's helping out as well, not just all of us, like us being professionals and being there all the time and helping out. It's a good thing, especially when everyone tries very hard to get in the business, and we always usually try to find a way to get themselves in the business, and helping out like that is a good honor as well.
So with all you've been able to do in your career thus far, what do you consider the biggest highlight? It could be a match, it could be a rivalry, it could be an angle, a championship you may have won. What do you consider the biggest highlight of your career thus far?
That's a good question. Like, I've been in the business for 3 years, and there's still a lot more coming, and the future's looking bright, and it hasn't happened yet, but August 5th, I'll be in the same match with Marty Jannetty. It'd be for the new SCWA United States Championship. It's going to be a true honor for that. And later on, around August 27th, there's going to be a Guinness Book of World Records Battle Royal. So the winner will basically be part of the Guinness Book of World Records. I think the biggest one right now that I've done I would say, making my debut in Ohio Valley Wrestling around January. It was a true honor. Like, I went through training yet again to be a part of that. I thought when I first got there, I really thought it was a tryout, and they ended up telling me that it was basic training. So it's basically like starting right back over from scratch, which is a true honor as well, especially getting trained by the guys from OVW. And the guy that's, hopefully he gets well. He just had cancer. His name's Matt Capitelli, if you heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
He was my trainer, and I hope he gets well. We're praying for him and this and that. And yeah, he was the one that trained me. He was there. He wanted me to be there, but I've been busy. But other than that, yeah, like Ohio Valley Wrestling, I would say it has to be like the biggest highlight of my career, because WWE used to be a developmental of the Ohio Valley Wrestling, and just to be a part of that, that's a true honor. And I would love to go back there yet again if they let me come back. And yeah, so.
OVW, one thing is certain for sure, they have a very good track record of developing talent and went on to become household names. And Matt, as you're referring to, I think he was from the first or second season of Tough Enough, going through a difficult time. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family. I am an OVW fan. I've been to a couple of the shows in the past, and I've interviewed some of the wrestlers there in the past. Again, get well soon, Matt. I know a lot of people are rooting for you in this battle, and just keep on fighting, man. We're rooting for you all the way. So, who do you consider your influences? Those that you look at after, those that that influence you of your career.
Like basically the guy that I looked up to, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wasn't. Believe it or not, WrestleMania 19. He wasn't even at WrestleMania 19. I don't think I'm wrong, but Edge has to be the guy that got me influenced to be where I'm at today, because just his work, and he's just a great wrestler, man. Like, I know he retired at an early age. I'm just glad enough that I get to be there on this last match and be there when he got inducted into the match. To be like the best time to ever see Edge is around that time. But it's sad that all those neck injuries, and he had to quit at an early age. But yeah, he has to be like the guy that I got influenced by.
Definitely one of my favorites. With Edge, he started as a tag team wrestler. I remember him and Christian and Gangrel, part of the Brood. And then Edge and Christian, they did their thing as a tag team and were part of historic matches with the Dudleys and the Hardys. And then when he went on to become a singles competitor, a lot of people didn't think he was going to be that big-time talent, and then he did. Unfortunately, the neck, came into play, and he lasted as long as he could. But he was able to accomplish a lot before it was time for him to hang up the boots. It's very unfortunate. But what's most important is that his life. He's a married man now. He's got a kid or two. And kids want to see. You want to be a father figure. You want to see him grow up. That they don't want to see you in a wheelchair or anything like that. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So props to Edge on a great career, and he'll be involved from time to time. But I think we all can say that we missed him a lot. He
absolutely.
He did so much for the company. Without a doubt. So Mason, before I let you go, you mentioned some upcoming shows. Do you got any more that people need to keep an eye on?
Next Saturday, July 22nd, I'll be in Madison, Indiana for NWA Supreme. Basically, I'm booked up from July, August. Basically, almost I got like 6 bookings left, like until I'm booked up all year, and it's not even like it's half the year already. And like I'll be everywhere. But if you want to know where I'll be at, I have a Facebook page called Mason Alexander. Like it up. Right now, I only have like pretty close to 600 some, and all matches, promos, interviews, everything will be on that Facebook page. So if anyone wants to know where I'll be at, that's a good place to look up.
It was great chatting with you, Mason. I want to thank you for being on the show this evening.
Thank you for letting me be on it.
And good success. And, keep me posted on your Kentucky shows. I'll definitely do what I can to come through. I live in Lexington, so.
That's cool.
And you know what? Since you are looking for some shows to be a part of, I know a guy from a company called Primetime Wrestling. I don't know if you're familiar with that company or not. But,
oh yeah.
So
I tried getting on there. They're pretty busy at this point because I've tried getting on there as well. But I'm friends with the promoter and everything. So yeah, sometime in the future you'll probably see Mason Alexander in Primetime Wrestling.
I definitely like to see that for sure. But again, thank you for being on. Continued success, and
thank you.
That will conclude the interview, everyone. Triple Threat Wrestling Radio is live on Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. on tmvcafe.com and on the TuneIn app, and search TMV Cafe. Thank you, everyone, for listening.